All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Welcome to another live Pendergast podcast, and it's an absolute honor to sit down with my mate in that two-time legend, Jack Hammer, bro. What is up? Welcome back to the podcast, mate.
Thank you. It's been a while, but it's great to be back.
Listen, the honor is absolutely all mine, Jack. Me and you have a lot to talk about, so I just want to jump straight into it, right? So the first time I had you on, obviously we talked about your story, how you got into the eSport championship. Obviously, since then, if anybody's kept up, I mean, two-time back-to-back. I mean, there's a lot to be said with doing that, right? So let's take it back from last year. We'll start off because yes, it has been over a year since me and you sat down on the podcast. So let's just do a recap of last year. You know, going into the season last year, obviously being the champ, did you have any added extra pressure on you going into that season?
So no, I knew that only Trust had been back-to-back champion, but not in terms of the new format that they brought in since 2019. So, and I run the one plate for the first time as well. So I had that on my shoulders, and I didn't have the same confidence, let's say, to win as I did in 23. But once the first round was over, that was all done with. From then on, it was just not like normal. There's no pressure, just trying to do the best job I could.
Was the choice up to you to run the number one plate?
Oh, yeah. Like, because no one had done it before, and I was always a very superstitious person in terms of you can't run a number one because everybody after Mick Doohan's cursed. But I saw Pecco won with it, and then I just sat down and went, no one's run it before. It'd be cool if I'll be the first person to do so, and I can be the first person at the same time to defend it. So I just used that as motivation, and that's why I went with it.
I love it, man. I love it. You know, again, you know, there's a lot to be said, you know, winning your first championship, but it's even harder to retain it and make that step forward just because of in my eyes, and just the way I view it, the added pressure that would probably just come along with knowing I got the number one. I'm the white rabbit that everybody's chasing, you know, and it's all mental. We know that, Jack, right? Whether it's real life or on the video game, it's all mental. And to overcome that just obviously shows, I mean, you've always been super strong, obviously, but it shows your improvements here mentally and how to handle the added pressure that come along with being that number. Matter of fact, look, I got this just for you, Jack. Check this out. And it's orange because the last 2 years you was on KTM. So we're number one, baby. Let's go. Right. So, yeah, I mean, and again, I'm very proud of you. There's a lot to be said. So moving on, we are here now in the new season in 2025. And you said the format had changed some. So talk to us about how it's changed and going into this season, expectations still the same, or has it changed at all for you?
Well, the format is still the same as last year. It's just the fact that when Trust did the double, you only had one race at that point. So obviously it's a bit more at that point it's a lot more pressure because you only had one shot compared to now. But for this year it's been a bit harder, let's say, because I've not exactly got on with the 2025 game. It's a bit like Pecco this season where the bike's simply not speaking to me. So I'm seeing what other people are doing and I'm trying to replicate it and I'm not understanding. But slowly but surely, I'll be chipping away, trying to just focus by myself. And as the first round starting to creep up now, I'm starting to. I still don't know where I lie in terms of race pace or anything, but I'm getting the sense that another title defense is definitely possible.
I love it. You got it, mate. 110%. You got this. Everybody else should be scared because they're not ready for the jackhammer to show up this season. That's for sure. We got a good mate of mine, Brendan Triplett. What is up? He said, "Good evening, everyone. You, my friend, how you doing?" You know, so it normally in our beautiful circus is what I always call it. You know, are the competitors, they share information, right? If you need a rear sprocket, they'll help you out or whatever it is. Is it like that too in the gaming world? Do you guys, you know, share setup changes or ask questions to try to elevate the game at all?
We are very secretive because especially when I'd say, well, on this year's game, setup doesn't actually mean anything because you can change the height of the bike, the length of the bike, the spring rates. You can change all that, and the bike will be exactly the same in terms of lap time. It will just feel different, but there's actually no impact on performance for some strange reason. But in previous years, say uh, someone's got a huge advantage at one circuit, obviously you go, well, it must be the setup. So then you try and get it out to them what they're doing, and everybody's so closed off because if they've got an advantage, they don't want to. If it is the setup that's giving it them, they don't want to give it away. So everybody's usually pretty secretive when it comes to settings. So I mean, when everything's done with the championship and everything, I think that's when you get more relaxed and everyone starts sharing a bit more. But really, everybody's on the same setup anyway, or you have some parts of the bike that are exactly the same. So like last year, everyone run really low front preload, really high rear preload across the board. Everyone ran the same geometry pretty much. So the really small thing like the spring hardness and the rebound and damping, that stuff like that would have been a little bit different. But yeah, it's a bit secretive.
I mean, I kind of imagined it would be. I just had to ask the question to see how. So, do you guys actually talk, or is it like a friendly atmosphere, or is it like nobody speaks? We just put on the headset, turn it on, and let's go. Or
Um, yeah, we do speak. There's if there's problems with the actual game, that's when we speak the most because we obviously you don't we want as minimal problems as possible, and usually we'll discuss if there's an incident or something, or this, we always organise practice sessions. It's usually quite calm. There's never, I mean, when things happen, obviously that's when like say there's a crash that happens, then that's when things get a bit flared. But when everything's normal, we all chat together, and usually it's all very calm and amicable.
yeah, I know I played. See, the last MotoGP game I owned, I think it was 23. And me and you had talked about it because I was like, dude, I just cannot figure out the brakes. Like every time I go to brake, it's the rear comes up and I end up crashing. It's like I couldn't make a complete lap to save my life, right? I think my favorite one was 20, I think it was. Man, everything was so plain. But one thing that I noticed, and you had mentioned a little bit earlier, is no matter what setup changes I did to the bike, it almost kind of felt the same. Like it really didn't. It might have turned in a little bit quicker and felt a little bit more nervous versus not. But I didn't really notice a big effect on it. Is that like that in 2025? Has that changed at all? Or
Yeah. So the way I could explain it is, let's say you've gone from a really long swing arm to a really short swing arm. When you ride it, you can feel that the geometry of the bike is shorter. You can feel this the swing arm shorter, but you don't get increased wheelie, you don't get increased grip, you don't get increased turning circle. And if you went the opposite way, it'd feel like you got a really long swing arm, but you don't lose grip, you don't have better wheelie control, you don't have better change of direction or stability. So it's a bit weird. So the only one that makes a difference is the gearbox, the ECU, the brakes, and the rear preload. Apart from that, everything else, I guess you change. It won't actually make a difference to the lap time. Whereas last year, if you made one click on anything, it would make a very subtle difference. So, say if I was struggling with stopping, I would just do a small increase on the damping, let's say, and then I would find a difference, but then I'd maybe turn a bit worse. So it'd be like that. But yeah, this year, I don't know why, but the bike setup doesn't work at all.
and that's got to be frustrating too, to a point, right? You're like, I don't know what to do to go any faster because it's not like you can change your body position or hanging off less or anything like that, right? It's pretty much a set. Because you get to pick your riding style, how far you lean over, you want to drag your elbow, more orthodox, old school, yada yada yada. To me, when I changed with those settings too, it really didn't affect a whole lot. Of just more like graphics, the way you're sitting on the bike and leaning into the bike. One of my favorite games that I really gelled with right out the box, obviously, is Ride 5 and 4, right? Because they're just absolutely amazing games. But the World Superbike, I think it's 2022 or 23. That's a really good game too, as well. But again, it's one of those to where even though you do make even the subtle changes, you really don't feel it. But I always start out in the middle, and then I go all the way, and then I go all the way down just to see if it makes any difference at all, and then kind of work from there. Now they added tire pressures too. Does that change the game at all? The tire pressures in there?
Yeah, that's something they haven't included in MotoGP yet. So, I mean, I'd say thankfully because obviously it's a bit of a drama in the real thing. But yeah, they just that's not a thing yet. So maybe the next game they'll bring that in.
Man, we need a Moto America game.
You can do that with Ride. Obviously, an actual Moto America game would be fun racing at all the Moto America tracks because really on Ride, the only ones you get out Laguna and well, you get the Canadian Motorsport Park and you might get VIR, but apart from that, you don't really get. And Utah or Salt Lake City it used to be called.
Yeah, so yeah, Utah. We don't race there no more. I don't know why, but we should. That was a great track. VIR is my home track, so yeah, that I always loved playing that on Ride 5 and 4. Yeah, but they need to come out with a game just like MotoGP, but for Moto America, where they have all the authentic tracks and the riders and all the classes too as well. That's one thing that I loved about the GP games. Is that something that they maybe in the future would you like to see you guys racing the Moto 3 and the Moto 2 as well as the MotoGP championship too as well? Or
Yeah, it'd be if there's enough interest, I'm pretty sure it'd be a good thing because you get players who just aren't strong on GP bikes, but they're really good at Moto 3, and they obviously and the same for Moto 2, and you get others who are useless at Moto 3, but they're really good on a Moto 2 or a MotoGP bike. So I think it'd be good if you could increase the classes because then you can just get more people playing and there's more potential to market everything.
110%. And next year they're going with Pirellis, which is a big change in MotoGP for Michelin. I wonder how much that's going to affect the game or if you're even going to notice it at all in 26 or 27, excuse me. That's when they start with Pirelli, right? Is it 27? Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I like to see tire wars in manufacturers back in the championship. Of course, Pirelli's going to be the sole supplier, but I wish they had Bridgestone back in it and all that. I just think it brings a different element to the game versus everybody. I get it with the same rubber, blah blah blah, but I like the tire wars. Jack, bring them back, right? Bro. So I know we talked about it first time, but just give a quick rundown on how because this is the video game, it's the MotoGP video game, people, and you actually got to qualify. So they on their website, or they send you an email when you sign up and register and all that stuff, and then they give you a time and a day to log in, get on, and then basically it's an eliminator round, correct?
So when you log in and sign up, they'll give you a code at the bottom, and when you go on the game. They usually on the calendar it'll say challenge 1 from let's say to make it easy the 1st of September to the 5th of September it will be, and you get told the day before what the track is and who the rider is. So let's go. One of the last one was Marquez at Ballantyne Park. So then you go on and you enter the code, and then you've got from 10 a.m. UK time on a Wednesday to 6 p.m. on Sunday UK time to do as many laps as you want to try and set the fastest lap possible. And if you get, then the point system works on every platform. And they split up in Europe and rest of the world as well. So if you get first, you get 25 points, and it's the same for the GPs. And then when you combine all the points from every single challenge, and you get the top 15 from Europe, the top 15 from the rest of the world, it's all 30, and then don't want to send send all the teams everybody's emails and whatever else, and then you have to play the good old waiting game to see if anybody contacts you.
And it's probably a nerve-wracking waiting game too as well, right? I wonder who's going to call me out. I wonder what team's going to pick me up this season. And was saying that when you do get the phone call from a particular team, do they send you the shirts and too as well, or is that something you pick up there at the track?
Yeah, so I think it depends on the team and what their stipulations are. But in the past for me, it's just they ask me, "What's your address?" I go, "This is my address. This is my size," and then they'll send it to me as fast as they can.
I love it, man. I love it. Do you have a particular team you want to be with this year, or
Uh, my when I saw that Trask had retired, and I saw Yamaha was open, I was like, I'd like to be a Yamaha. I'd like to be a VR46 because I'm a Rossi fan. But I just want to be with a team who, well, I just want to be, well, one, I want to be on the grid, and two, I want to be with a team, that's just gonna treat me well. I get those two things, then I don't really mind who I'm riding for.
so do you actually communicate with the teams during the weekend? Is it like a lot of stuff that goes on in the background when you show up for the weekend, or how does all that work? Like basically run us through your typical weekend at MotoGP doing what you do for esport.
Uh, well, say this year, it's literally just I turned up as a guest of Dorna, and that was it. I had no sort of contact with KTM. In years gone by, it's because Silverstone's been a funny one because of COVID. But 23, I got to go in hospitality and meet Brad and Jack. 24 just never materialized, whatever reason. But when they used to do it, when they had rounds at the actual GP, that was quite fun because you go in on the Wednesday, so you see everybody. You can see how the paddock gets built throughout the day. So you go from having no trucks, or the trucks are set up, but the boxes aren't set up and all that. And then Thursday is when all the fans are starting to come in, and then you get to do events with. I got to do a meet and greet with Brad Binder, Miguel Oliveira, and I got to do a tour of the Ixon truck and try out what an airbag suit is like. So, it depends on. I think it depends on the team and what they can offer and stuff, and how busy they are and whatever. But uh, it's definitely a worthwhile experience.
Oh, I guarantee it, bro. I guarantee it is, right? Have you had a MotoGP rider or Moto3 or Moto2 step to you and want a challenge to race you at the video game sometime? Be like, bro, let's race. You're like, oh, okay.
Uh, so during COVID, I mean, I raced again. I raced with Kyle Ride weekend. So no, I think it turns out I raced with Rory Skinner and Luke Stableford as well without knowing. So I've raced with BSB guys. I did race with Jake Dixon as well, but that was just because I joined his lobby. He had no idea who I was. But
Until you,
When I met with Cambodia, that was fun in Mugello because we got to watch him do a lap in Mugello, and because he hadn't played the game in ages, he wasn't great, but just chatting to him and how he even qualified for the championship in 2019 was quite funny. And we just got chatting. So yeah, when you talk to the riders, those who actually play the game and do have an interest in it, it's quite fun.
dude, I bet that's a surreal experience playing with somebody like I can never say it. I always murder his last name for some reason, or Rory Skinner or anybody, right? And I assume you kick everybody's butt.
Yeah, I'll also say Kyle, when Kyle locked in, he got really close to my lap times. He was proper, he's like this season now. He started off a bit far from Brad, but and then now he's the one who's dictating the race pace. So that's sort of what it was like. He started off about 1.2, 1.5 behind me. By the end of lockdown, he was right on my tail. So yeah, he was good.
Do you guys still play now?
No, because well, just once COVID finished, Kyle got interested in pool and golf. So I don't think I mean, I think he does play the GP games and ride every now and then, but he prefers to play golf and do track days and whatnot.
Yeah, a lot of racers play golf. I think the reason why is because it's a lot like racing. It's all mental. It's right here, right? It's yeah, golf's fun. I play it on my phone. I got a little golf clash golf, whatever it is. I play with a couple of my buddies. We'd be talking shit back and forth, and yeah, well, whatever. And Tiger Woods golf, of course, on the PlayStation or the Xbox. I can play those, but in real life, it's fun. But yeah, I'm just not the golfer, man. I suck. I absolutely just, it's horrible. I'd be out there all day just trying to do a par three. It's ridiculous, right? But yeah, it's man, that's awesome. Playing video games with other racers, knowing that they're in love with the sport too, and they like to play video games as well, right? It's good stuff, man. So listen, Jack, bro, you got it again this year. You're gonna win the title again. There's no doubt in my mind. Of course, I watch it, obviously, and man, seeing you guys, I logged on. It's been a while, but I got on there. I was like, okay, so I wrote down one of your lap times, and I was like, I'm gonna see how close I can get. Yeah, wasn't even close at all. And I literally put 8 hours, like all day. I haven't played PlayStation all day like that in a long time, but I was determined. I was like, I set a goal, 2.5 seconds from Jack, and I'm good. Then I'll continue from there. Yeah, I don't want to say how far off I was because it's embarrassing. I was 12 seconds off the pace. Like I was, dude, this is ridiculous. I don't see how he does it. So it's fun to play. It's fun to try anyway, you know. Harry Cook, every once in a while, we'll get on there and mess around on Ride 5, but he's fast too as well at the game. So, Jack, dude, bro, I know you wanted to talk about some Moto America. The season's been absolutely interested, but before we get into Moto America, I do have a question for you about the Moto E. What advice would you give for somebody that wants to get into the Moto E World Championship?
Well, just play the game normally. Don't start league racing too early, because if you start too early when you're not ready, you can quite quickly get demoralized, and you're done for before you even started. So I'd say just work in time trial, just play maybe at random online races, and just keep working slowly. And once you get to a level where you're starting to get limited, then you can try different things, and then that's maybe you can try league racing. And once you start racing with people consistently, that's when you learn most. And just keep pushing and try and just try different riding styles, different things, and keep trying every year to qualify.
Yeah, just keep at it, right? It's all it's just like real racing. It's all seat time, right? And I could imagine when they put out the time trials for you guys to qualify, it's like, okay, that's all I'm doing, Mom. I'll be in here in my room. I'm playing MotoGP nonstop because I'm hitting these lap times. I'm sure you put a lot of hours, and obviously you practice a lot too playing the game. Do you play any other games? I know I asked you this last time, or is that just the main one you play?
So when I won the first title, the only game I played in terms of with a controller was MotoGP. From it was like that's from July to November. That's the only game I played. I did play stuff like Uno and GeoGuessr on the PC, but that's because there's no sense of controller. That's why I did it. But last year, I did play stuff like Forza, FIFA, Rocket League. I did play other stuff. So, and now it's currently just Forza. Um, funny enough, PJ Golf. So, yeah, those are the two games I play at the moment. But usually, it's what it is play GP, and it's basically just to distract myself or to have fun. I'll go with my mates at the end of the day and just chill out and play a random game and have some fun.
Yeah, that's what it's about, is having fun, right? I see I'm playing currently Far Cry 6 is what I'm currently playing. My buddy's like, dude, you gotta play Far Cry. You gotta. So I was like, you know what? Let me try it out. It's decent. It reminds me a lot of one of my favorite games back in the day was Ghost Recon Wildlands. Yeah, have you ever played that game?
I've heard of it. I've never played it.
Oh my God, it's such a good game. It's basically they drop you off. You got to take down this cartel, but you can do it in any order. You go over the country and it's a really good game. But this game reminds me a lot of it too, because you got it reminds me a lot of, I think a lot of games, once that game got so popular, kind of molded their not online, but it's co-ops. I mean, you could jump on it and do co-op missions. It's fun that way to play with your buddies, get on there and talk shit. Like me and my buddy would see who could snipe the furthest and get the longest kill, just stuff like that. It was one thing they had was called the Unidad, bro. when you went on their base and you try to take it over and they come after you, dude, there was a time you can go all the way across the map and they're still chasing you. Like they don't give up. It's that type of intense game though. It's a lot of fun versus games that are kind of predictable after you play them for like 30 minutes. You're like, yeah, okay, this kind of sucks. That's why I never got into fighting games like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. Yeah, the graphics are cool, finish him and the cool kills and stuff, but it's basic routine stuff. It's just mashing the buttons and doing the fight. To me, that's not so much fun. You know what I mean? Forza is a good game. Of course, Gran Turismo, I've been playing that. Gran Turismo to me was the king racing game back in the day for sure. When I first got my Xbox, of course, I got Forza, and I was impressed on how really good that game was. It really surprised me. My son just got a new Xbox a couple months ago. Of course, downloaded Forza. So it's different now. It's not the same. It's open world. Of course, it was kind of open world back in the day, but it's just different if you know what I mean. I'm looking forward to playing, what's the new one coming out? It's called Grand Theft Auto 6. Yeah. Definitely going to get that one for sure. So my son keeps talking about Grand Theft Auto. And then Rocket League, you mentioned that. So me and my son get on there. We play Rocket League. He kicks my butt all day long on that game. It's kind of difficult controlling a car or truck or whatever it is, getting the ball. And, yeah, it's just it's difficult for sure. But he enjoys it because he kicks my butt. And every time we get on a motorcycle game, he's like, Daddy, I don't want to play you because I already know you're going to win. And I'm like, but I suck, dude. Like, yeah, so. But anyway, Jack, bro, you're an absolute legend, and you got it this year. And I know I said it earlier, but you got this. As far as the bikes go, man, I would love to see you with Team Aprilia, to be honest with you. I think Aprilia is a beautiful-looking machine, and they actually come a long way. I'm glad Jorge Martin's back on the team, that whole shit show that was going on behind the scenes. Now he's happy. He looks happy. He's fast. Yamaha introduced a new V4 this weekend, which is looking good. I always thought it was kind of crazy why they come out with the V4 now when they know they got to change it in a year. Yeah. I think part of it is to keep Fabio on the team for sure. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. But as far as Moto America, Jack, you said it was your first year watching it the full season, bro. You got to tell everybody, what do you think about Moto America?
I'm going to start about a bit negative. I think BSB is better.
Me too. I say it all the time. BSB is the best production racing in the world, hands down.
Well, just because when I went to it, I was like, okay, I know it's going to be Bobier versus Herring. And if Garnier's in fully fit, it'll be those three. I did not expect Jake Garnier to get involved. Bobby Fong to get involved at all in the title fight. From the moment he won his first race, he's gone and stormed it. And I was very surprised that both M4 XR Suzuki's got on the podium at VIR because Suzuki's not the greatest bike at the moment, even though they're going to get a new one in a year or so's time. So, but it's just been a great championship to watch. I mean, when Fong won by 20 seconds of VIR wasn't great, but the battle for second was amazing. But the championship battle, just going from Bobier to Herring now to Fong, it's just up and down, up and down, up and down. And I think for me, the performance of the year has to go to JD Beach, Mid Ohio, getting a podium somehow on that stock Honda.
Dude, JD Jiggy Dog is an absolute weapon on two wheels. So during Mid Ohio, I was the lollipop guy, right? So basically, I hold the sign up for where I was on the third spot on the grid. So when all three of my riders, I hold the sign out for number 3 so they know where to pull up, and then I set it down. So I was right there, bro. And I got a video. I'm actually going to send you the video. So I got the video at Mid Ohio, first race for the stock 1000 when JD Beach absolutely murdered the field. So he's coming out the last corner, which is the left-hand corner. And I'm like 20 yards maybe from the guy waving the checkered flag. And JD comes out that corner and puts it up on one wheel and rides it all the way down the straightaway. And I got on camera. I'm like, woo, let's go. It was absolutely awesome. Yeah, JD, man, he's I don't see why he hadn't been on a like a Tech Yamaha hadn't picked him up or something like that. He's one of those guys that definitely deserves to be. And I'm not saying nobody else does either, because they all do, but he's definitely special. And next year, you know, they're combining the two classes, the stock 1000 with the superbike guys. So yeah, I don't know how this is going to turn out. Some of the stock 1000 guys are not too happy about it. But we'll see. We'll see how it pans out. But yeah, I agree with you. I think JD's definitely the rider of the year in my book too, as well. So fast. Second race at Mid Ohio, he had an engine failure over the weekend at Mid Ohio, and I think in the second race, he had an electrical gremlin come up, so he didn't even finish the second race. But yeah, it's good, man. What do you think about the bagger and the super hooligan class?
That's the class I haven't watched, Steve, but I do know what Troy Herfuss is in it, James Spoli's in it, and I can't remember, I think Bradley Smith is in it as well. But
Yep.
that's just, to me, I can't. I mean, I try to, but I'm sorry, the only two classes I've paid attention to are the Superbike class and the Talent Cup. The other classes I haven't really paid much attention to, but and I imagine it's a fun class because they're just massive Harley Davidsons or something similar, so the racing can be quite different compared to Superbike or Super Sport or Talent Cup or something like that.
Oh, 100%. And then we got our good mate, Luca Allen, over here from BSB Racing in Moto America with CW Moto Team, which I'm really good friends with. And yeah, have you talked to Luca at all? Or
No, I have I've never talked to Luca at all.
no? I need to link y'all two up because he likes to play video games too. So yeah, Luca, I'm glad to see somebody from BSB. And then I heard Vandermark too. Wants to come to Moto America and race too, which speaks volumes of Moto America. People want to come over here and race, which is good for the sport. I would love to see Jack where it goes back where we had that transatlantic, whatever it was, championship where BSB and Moto America get together and converge and race. I think that would be good for our sport all the way around too, for sure. The bagger class, I remember when it first started. Dude, Jack, I gotta be honest. I was on the fence. I was like, I don't know, man. Like this is gonna be a shit show for sure. But we'll see. It might be good for the sport. And the more I thought about it, I was like, what an ingenious idea. And the reason why I say that is it brought more people into the sport that otherwise wasn't into the old school crotch rocket racing, sports bike racing, right? With the Harley guys and the Indians. But now they're fully involved. They love it. They show up, they watch, and it just brings a different crowd. So it helps the sports grow. Excuse me, growing that way. Oh man, excuse me. It brought different sponsorships to it too, as well, right? Which is also good for the sport too in general. The racing's really good. It's close, and those bikes, bro, they are outrageously. You think super bikes expensive? Nah, bro, that bagger class is retarded expensive. My good buddy Max Flinders from the UK, he races the bagger and the super bike. And you know, I asked my friends that race the baggers, I'm like, well, what's it like racing that ginormous bagger? And they say it's a lot of fun. It's like a big heavy supermoto in a way, which is kind of crazy to say, right? You know what I want to see, and I've been waiting on, is when somebody wins the race, Jack, and they pull some beer out of the baggers and start throwing them out to the crowd, right? Wouldn't that be cool? Put something in it, keep it out. The super hooligan class is actually one of my favorite classes. I think it's a different perspective. It is Street Fighter style bikes getting it in the mix, and it brings allegedly a cheap way to get into the sport too as well. You know, with the whole class rules, especially in BSB, it's the same way with the 600s. You know, you got different CCs, sizes, and I'd hate to be the guy or the girl sitting behind there trying to make the rules and make everything as even as it can be. That's got to be a freaking headache right there. And as far as the Talent Cup, you know, did you ever watch the Junior Cup at all before the Talent Cup?
No, because the reason I was bothered about the Talent Cup was because of Julian Correa. So that's the only reason I watch it. So yeah, I have no experience of what the Junior Cup was.
Juju, my boy, man. Yeah, so I finally got to meet Juju at VIR, him and his dad, Michael Carrera. Everybody knows I'm a huge fan of SFL Mini GP, which his dad runs in South Florida. This is my new hat that they gave me while I was there, and I got a cool keychain. And of course, I bought 3 T-shirts for my boy to help support him. Yeah, Juju is what an amazing young man he is, right? And his parents are too as well. And he's super fast, super humble. He's actually racing this weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's in Estoril.
Yep. So, yeah, let's go, Juju. You got this. Yeah, it's super exciting. But the Talent Cup, it replaced the Junior Cup, which was 400cc Kawasaki's. And that's what everybody was on. We went from 30 plus rider grid, 28 down to 13 now, I think it is. And we're the only class in the world that races a bike that we're the only ones in the world that race that particular motorcycle. Nobody else in the world races it.
They used to run Kramers in Super Sport, but because the GP2 class is now gone, the Kramer no longer exists.
Yeah. Which to me, I kind of hated to see the GP2 class go away again. To me, that was everything has a yin to a yang, right? But it gave you at least the option. Hey, you can do a R6 or a ZX6R with this options, or you can do a proper GP2 bike, and you have all these options. It was it really fair? I don't know, but one thing I do know is the racing was super brilliant at PSP in the 600 class when that was going on. It was it still is today, right? Let's be honest. But yeah, the Talent Cup, it's more expensive to get into than the Junior Cup was, but it's brilliant racing. I mean, let's just be honest. We got Bodie Page, we got Hank Fosberg, we got my man DeMario, which is absolute weapon, right? He won the Talent Cup with over race weekend left to. I mean, not the Talent Cup, the Twins Cup with I can't even talk today. New Jersey, the last round left to go. Talent Cup's in Texas right now at Coda. DeMario could actually win up 2 championships in one season, which is brilliant, right? Going from a Twins Cup to the Talent Cup, on the weekends, especially when they race back to back. Which, do they race back to back? I'm not so sure. Anyway, you got Cody Kopp, flat track racer, thrown into the deep end, first year road racing with Kenny Roberts' team, right? It's good to see how far he's come from the beginning of the season, how comfortable he's getting into, proper road racing instead of flat tracking, because it's completely different, but yet the same, if that makes sense. I mean, listen, the grid's stacked. We got Juju in there, which he's not here this weekend, obviously, because he's in Europe. We got Ella Dreyer. She is absolute. She got P1 today, I think. So yeah, it's a stat class. I think the top 5 get a Red Bull rookie tryout, from my understanding. So we're trying to get more involved over there in the UK. But when I get asked a question, my answer is always this: if you really want to make it over there, sell all your shit and move to Europe. That's what you got to do, basically.
Yeah, you got to get to Spain.
You got to. We just don't have the infrastructure, and plus, America, we're all about NASCAR and football and baseball and all that. There's no advertisement for motorcycles racing at all. So it's if you're not in the circle, it's hard to get new people in, especially when you don't advertise at all, right? Where over there, especially in the UK and Asia and all that parts of the country, it's a lifestyle to most people. It's everywhere. You turn on the TV, it's on your regular TV channels. Here, you got to pay for everything, right? Subscriptions to watch MotoGP and Moto America, and BSB don't. You can go to Bennett'sBritishSuperbikes.com and watch TSL live timing and watch it that way. That's what I do. Of course, we got the YouTube videos. But to me, and I tell people, you just can't beat BSB, hands down. You've been to MotoGP, and I know you've been to BSB. So let me ask you this question before I tell you my answer. What's the energy difference like between the two? BSB and MotoGP because it's different. The crowds, even though it's two-wheel racing, the crowd's different. The energy levels are different. It's completely, it's two different worlds, right? Same thing with Moto America. Thing that Moto America has going for it, World Superbike's kind of like it too, is it's an open pit paddock, kind of like BSB, right? You walk around BSB, you can pretty much walk up to anybody except for Cadwell Park because it's way down below and you got to cross the track unless you got to pass. You're not getting across that track, but you can stand there at the top and they come by there. They have to, right? And everybody's friendly and they introduce the crowd, the fans. It was intense, right? Here in America, we got the open pit paddock, so you could go straight up to Cam Bobier or Cam Peterson or whoever and get a picture, autograph, and talk to them. But the crowds is not as big. Like at VIR, the crowd was bigger Saturday than it was Sunday. But it's just not as lively as BSB was, right? Nobody's like, whoa, let's go, whoa. You know, you don't have too many of those except for me and my CFE buddies. And there are people here and there that do it, but it's not like MotoGP or BSB from my experience anyway. What about you, Jack?
Yeah, so the first thing I noticed is that GP is obviously the bike's a lot faster and stuff like that. But in terms of crowd, because it's Silverstone, it's so big compared to every other circuit, apart from maybe SNET. Crowds ever since I've been going, it seems like the crowds get smaller and smaller and smaller, and you barely hear a roar of the crowd. Like say when Lorenzo Marquez had that battle in 2013, you heard the roar of the crowd, or when Rins won, you heard the roar of the crowd. You don't really get that anymore. In BSB, I'm in the pit when I was in the Talent Cup part and the pit walk's happening. You even have people just walking up and down the outside, like the paddock, all the way on the wrong side of the pit lane, just looking for people to have pictures with or just to scout all the other classes. So, I mean, I never usually. It's very rare I watch trackside because I'm always in a garage or an awning or a pit lane or whatever. But BSB is more tightly knit because you got all the Facebook groups, so everybody knows everyone knows everybody else. Everybody helps people to try and get tickets, or if there's anybody struggling with camping or whatever, you get this sort of community where most people are dead helpful and a really nice atmosphere.
Oh, 100%. It's MotoGP, you know, I've been to Coda past 7 years and I went to Laguna Seca in 2005 when they first come back, and I've been at every MotoGP race at Indy except for the last year. One thing that I noticed about GP is, it's just my personal opinion, all this is once Rossi retired, it seemed like part of the sport kind of went with it, if that kind of makes sense, right? Yeah, we got Pecco. Of course, we still got Marquez, but that character's gone, right? The character that everybody loved and cheered for. I mean, when Rossi was still racing, you show up, you see yellow flags, and I mean, it was everywhere, you know. Now it's yeah, you got Marc Marquez fans and this, but it's, I guess the point I'm making is the atmosphere is different.
Yeah.
Basically is what it is. It's not the same as it used to be. Never been to Silverstone. It's one of my bucket list tracks I do want to go to, and I've heard that it's, like you described it, it's huge. It's a big track. And one thing about like Moto America on the weekend, I noticed BSB, they outlawed scooters, so only the team members and the teams can ride scooters. In Moto America, you're allowed to ride little pit bikes and scooters around everywhere, even in the pits. Depending on track to track, because different owners like Moto America don't own obviously all the tracks, so there's certain people that own certain tracks and they set their own laws per track versus whatever state it's in. Like in Atlanta, Georgia, when we go to Road Atlanta, you got to wear a helmet when you ride your little bike around, or your little e-scooter or whatever it is. That's what I got. I got my little e-scooter right here I carry around with me. Other tracks you don't. Some tracks require you, like Wisconsin, Road America, they require you to have, you got to buy a $50 little pass that you put on your little vehicle to allow you to ride in and out of the pits. But of course, it's, you got to ride slow and be respectful because there's a lot of people walking around in and out and all that. Did you watch Daytona 200 this year?
No, I didn't.
No, dude, you got to watch that race. That's an intense race. That's a glorified brain fart endurance race is what it is. You know, it's the only unique track in the world that, Jack, when you go there, and your setup will not apply to any other track in the United States at all, just because how unique it is. I'm pretty sure it's like that with Cadwell Park over there in the UK. It's so unique, you know, it's nothing works anywhere else. So we got another good buddy of mine, Will Lynn. What is up, my man? He said, let's go MA weekend. Yes, it is. So I met Will at Mid-Ohio, who's actually working the grid with me. That's how me and him met. So we got to spend the weekend together working the grid, and it was a lot of fun. Have you ever done any corner marshal working or anything for BSB at all?
No, the only thing I do is pit board duties.
I'm sure that's pit board duties. I was standing right next to Jason Rebay's dad, and he's got his phone out, he's got his watch out, and he's swapping numbers and doing this the whole time and holding it out. I'm like, woo, let's go. Like, he's literally like right here, and I'm watching him. I'm like, bro, like, I'm trying to talk to him. He's not paying. He's paying me no mind, Jack, and I like to talk, right? He's just looking at me, smiling, doing his thing. Yeah. And I'm watching the whole time, you know, but that's a side that most people don't get to see on TV. Like, they see it for a split second, and it might show you, but there's a lot that goes into doing that.
Yeah. You know? Practice and qualifying, that's okay, because most of the time we got to do is tell them where they are and how far they're off. But when it comes to the race, you got to make sure you don't mess up the lap counter. So you got to make sure you're telling your rider what lap it is, how many are to go. If you get that wrong, obviously you can have a Alicia Spargo moment where across the line they think it's over, but there's actually another lap to go. And the thing I struggle with most is trying to calculate the correct gap that the rider is behind, because every lap you can have a different sector. So say if you're strong in the last sector, you're going to pull out against the rider behind you. So you might have to go, okay, he's 0.3 now, but he's going to be 0.5 across the line. So do give him 0.5. If he's being caught, do you increase it and go, actually he's caught you up a lot more than he actually is? So I always try and give whatever the most accurate gap can be. But I mean, usually in Talent Cup, it's just +0. So usually I don't have to worry. But if it is a case where the gaps are increasing and decreasing, I do my best to try and calculate what roughly the gap's going to be. But most of the time, it's too difficult to get it bang on.
Yeah, I can only imagine, my friend. I can only imagine. Let me ask you this, Jack. Who do you think the most underrated rider in our Moto America Talent Cup is?
Underrated. I would love to see how Aladrea would do if she got put in the Women's World Championship, just to see where her actual level is. Because to be riding with all the guys in the top 5 is very impressive. I'd say maybe could be Cody, because he was obviously transferring over. He's only just transferred, so I'm wondering if he's ever spoke to a JD, because he's done a lot of flat tracking and all that kind of stuff. So he'd know exactly how to transition from the dirt to the tarmac. So maybe say Cody, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I mean, I quite wondered the same thing with Ella. Ella's fast. I mean, you watch her, you're like, holy shit, she's the real deal, right? Like Michaela Moore. We got two of my friends out there racing in WCR right now. We got Mallory Dobbs and Sonia Lloyd. They're over there. I'd love to see Ella over there, and who knows? Who knows what the future holds? She's definitely got the talent to make it for sure. So, yeah, I'd love to see her over there. Cody Kopp, again, being thrown into the deep end, Jack. I'm not going to say on an unfamiliar sport, but when you're used to sitting upright and a bike leaning over and you're doing this versus doing this, it's different, but to see, again, we said this earlier, his progression from where he started to how comfortable he's getting and the gap he's making up to stay within a touch to the front right now is really good. So I think he's got a future ahead of him. We'll see if he wants to stay on the tarmac or go back to AFT, because I know he was racing AFT. Was it last weekend, or he's got a race coming up that he still does too, which I'm a firm believer that flat track racing's one of the best ways you could train for road racing anyway, just because you're constantly finding that front and that rear traction. And that way, when you do get to tarmac and something happens, because it's going to happen when you're pushing, it's muscle memory, right? Kind of like the video game. It's muscle memory at that point. And it's the little steps and changes that make the biggest impacts versus starting out, you do this and you made a 3-second jump, but then making that half a second or 0.2 that's when the real little puzzle pieces start coming into play, and the little adjustments make the refinements. BSB's been crazy this year too as well. We said it before we come on. Glenn Irvin left PBM mid-season. I'm still not sure what that's about. From what I gather, he was ready to come back, and they didn't want him to come back, and I guess until he was fully fit. That's just what I kind of got out of the talks that I heard. Nobody really knows what really went on behind closed doors, right? And I don't want to assume anything. I just know that Glenn is an absolute legend on that Ducati. He was, and I had a feeling once he, announced he was going to Yamaha, I was like, it's a different bike, mate. Like, it's a completely different world. Your riding style, everything changes, and he's had some good events on it for sure. Rory Skinner looks good on that Ducati, right? He went and got, and he's moving. I'm glad to see Christian Iden on the sharp end again. He's doing big things. Of course, Storm Stacy's on the BMW this year. He's looking really good. A lot better than he has been on the Kawasaki. I always, the last year he was with Kawasaki, or even the year before, I was like, I'd like to see him on a different manufacturer for sure. See what he could do, Yeah. And then of course, Kyle Ride, he's what can we say about him? He's an absolute legend. Same thing with Bradley Ray. We got Bradley way back from World Superbike, and he jumped head in. So I had a lot of my friends say, oh, Bradley Ray, you talk about Bradley Ray this and but he ain't doing shit in World Superbike. I'm like, bro, he's on a second tier bike. Like, he's not on the top level bike, right? And he's only doing a certain amount of races, only the European races. So he's not getting the seat time he needs to show his full potential anyway. Not saying nothing negative about the team, because I'm sure it was a hell of a team, but it wasn't the top tier team, right? And you don't have the seat time. It's new tracks. Some of them are. So it's a lot going in when you go from, I'm meeting you, you're my new crew chief. Yeah, I heard of you, but we've never had an interaction, to a new team and all that. There's a lot to learn. But I said, mark my words, if he ever went back to BSB, he's going to win right off the rip. And look what happened. So he never lost his talent. Neither did Valentino Rossi. When he went to Ducati, I knew that was a shit show off the jump, right? Like, I really wanted that to work, Jack. Everybody did. But in my mind, I even told my wife, I was like, I just don't think it's going to work. She's like, but you love Ducati and Rossi. Like, why would it work? I was like, because I love them so much. It's absolutely not. It's just not going to work. As much as I wanted it to, it didn't. But at the end of the day, that don't mean that he lost his talent. Shit, when Rossi retired, he was going faster than he's ever been around any of the tracks they went to, right? So they don't lose their knowledge on how to ride, but people don't understand when they go from one manufacturer to the other, or they swap teams. It's those puzzle pieces that come into play. Everything's got to come stacked right for everybody to communicate good, to work good as a group, and have people that really trust in you to know what you're doing out there on the bike. Again, it's that whole mental side of where racing comes in, But man, BSB, I say it all the time. It's the best production racing in the world, hands down. For me, I say, Jack, it's the Isle of Man TT above everything, and then BSB, and then below BSB is everything else: MotoGP, Moto America, World Superbike. Of course, we got Top Rack coming into MotoGP, which I think is really exciting. I got a friend of mine that, dude, he's so in love with Top Rack. He's like, I think Top Rack's going to do good, but I just think it's going to take a little bit of time, but I could be wrong. Okay. But I said the same thing when Johnny Ray and Top Rack pretty much switched. Top Rack went to BMW, Johnny Ray went to Yamaha. I was like, I think Top Rack might have a little bit more difficult time making that transition. Boy, was I wrong. Yeah, totally. Right. But that just goes to show the type of rider Top Rack is. He's definitely in his own league when it comes to World Superbike. Yeah. Bulliga showed up on the scene. He's been really pushing it. New kid on the block, right? Young megalodon shark in the water. But Top Rack's just, he's just on another level. when it comes to that. Johnny Ray's going to retire, which is sad to see. I actually got you can't see it, but behind my scooter, I got a picture of Johnny Ray on the Honda Red Bull bike at Cadwell Park, freaking railing the mountain course jump. Yeah, what a legend, man. What a legend, Johnny Ray. Yeah, it's funny watching, as long as me and you've been watching all these riders come and go through this sport. You kind of get the energy through the TV when you watch them, especially when the way they talk to the announcers or they have press conferences. You could tell that they're, I want to say, kind of getting away from it in a way, if that kind of makes sense. With like Johnny Ray, he wasn't smiling at all very much, always down and depressed. And when somebody, has a bad wreck, and that's what makes Marquez so special to me, right? I couldn't stand Marquez. I was a dude, that VR46, baby, let's go till I die, to this day, right? But when you're so involved and you like somebody so much and they're your number one guy, of course, you're going to have grudges, I guess, against people that are actually beating them at the time, right? But since Rossi retired, the respect that I've grown for Marquez, knowing the trials and tribulations, the wrecks, and the severe injuries he's had, to come back and still give it his all and still do what he's doing. I mean, you can't do nothing but give props to the guy. You know what I mean? It's amazing to see somebody like that in our lifetime, because there's people that come along and elevate the game. Lorenzo, Stoner, Rossi, Marquez, Toprak, right? And was saying that it's good to see Scott Redding again. Like, this year's been crazy. Scott Redding from Livono BMW, now he's back in BSB, right? On PBM. It's like, what's going on in motorsport racing this year, Jack? It's been crazy.
So many changes, and you think everything's sorted, and then there's just another. It's just like finished your game of as a game of chess, and then someone's just knocked all the pieces over and started giving you a new. Right, go again.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's. But for us fans, it's always good to see. One thing that I think we're missing, which BSB is definitely not missing, is rivalry in our sports again. The way Lorenzo and Rossi were, and Marquez and Rossi, and that rivalry creates, I don't want to say friction, but man, the people love that, right? They love it when people talk trash about each other and this and that. Troy Heffross and damn it, who was it here in Moto America? They were talking cash shit to each other. I was like, yeah, let's go. That's what I'm talking about, right? And Troy's actually back in ASBK with Yamaha doing, I think, a one-off race too coming up soon, which is good. So yeah, I miss the rivalries like that, right? GP's too friendly now, I'll say, right? I think they're trying to be too much like Formula One. Let's just be honest. Since Drive to Survive come out, MotoGP come out with their horrible. You laugh because you watch it. You're like, what is this? Garbage, right? And now that, they took over Liberty over MotoGP, we'll see what changes they're actually going to make and implement to make the sport better. And with saying that, Jack, let's go back to the esport real quick. What changes would you like to see in the series as far as esport goes?
I'd love to see us returning back to racing at the Grand Prix, because from memory, they've raced at Valencia, Misano, Mugello, and that might be it, and Aragon. Those are the four tracks they've done. And the last one they did was Mugello in 2022. And I just think if we could just do, even if it's just one round, if we could do a round at Mugello or Misano, somewhere like that, and you can, I think it could be quite easy on a Thursday just to implement, get the whether it's the GP riders, Moto2 riders, Moto3s, whichever talent cup is there, you can just mix everything and just increase everybody's profile a little bit.
No, I agree. We said this earlier. I'd love to see them implement. It's just like in the super hooligans, out here in America, that they don't get a lot of seat time. Like they get out there, like literally you show up your first session, you got 20 minutes to be within that 120%. If not, guess what? You're going home and you just showed up. Right. So it's, yeah, I think more advertisement, more publicity, especially for the E Championship, is nothing but good publicity. Obviously, especially if you're bringing the riders in and they're getting involved, and more people's going to see it, and they're going to be like, "Hey, I want to do it," because they're doing it, and everybody wants to show up to the races and meet everybody, right? But it also gives them the opportunity to meet their superstars, people that they look up to. Um, I know here at Coda, I don't know how it is in Silverstone, but they have a new fan zone. Um, but here in America, when you go to Texas, you got to buy the $350 VIP pass in order to get back behind the garages to meet everybody. Otherwise, you get the $20 pit walk, right? But let's just be honest. When you go out there on the pit walk, you don't see a whole lot of riders because they're not out there on the pit walk. They're off doing whatever. You'll see Miller every once in a while, and Moto 2 and Moto 3 guys. But as far as your household names, that's what everybody wants to show up and see. You got to have that pass in order to do that. Is it like that there in the UK?
Yeah, so Silverstone, they used to, but they don't do this now. On a Thursday, they used to do Day of Champions. So, yeah, Day of Champions, where if you went on a Thursday, you got free paddock passes for the day. So you can just go in the paddock, find anybody, try and get a picture of anyone. Which I think did cause a few problems because you just get the paddock all rammed, so none of the riders can get to where they need to. Then they also did Two Wheels for Life auctions on the main stage, which is by where it used to be where Bridge Corner was, the old layout. It's on the Wellington Street on the inside, just before the bridge. And yeah, they used to have the riders do signings and autographs there. They come down once they've talked for 5 minutes, and if you're at the front, you could get pictures with people. But yeah, you did have to, as far as I'm aware, and the hero walk, you have to pay to do the hero walk. But apart from that, I don't think you have to actually. Well, I mean, I don't have to worry about paying, so I don't know if you do have to pay to get to places or not.
Jackson, I don't have that problem, but yeah, I don't know. I love it. Yeah, I mean, but here in America, and the thing is they have that fan zone, but in order to get to the van zone, you have to have the VIP pass, right? It's not a separate thing. So if you don't have that pass, you don't get to go to the fan zone, which is cool because every they'll release all the Moto 3 riders and they'll make their little circle around and Moto 2 and the Moto GP guys. So it gives everybody an opportunity to, at least get a picture and autograph real quick, which is what most people's there for, right? Is to get up close and personal with their people that they look up to. And to be honest with you, man, the racing this year in MotoGP has just been, I mean, it's an honor to see Marc Marquez win 14 out of the 16 races, right? But it's boring. It's not even fun to watch at this point. Shit, I didn't even look at my fantasy league in the past 4 rounds because what's the point, right? I got Marquez on my team, and I got Alex, I got Furman Aldegar, and shit, I don't even know who my 4th rider is. Who is my 4th rider? Let me look real quick. Furman, Quattuaro, sorry.
Me, it was just Marcus, Aldeguer, or Agora, whichever one was doing better, and then you'd just be a swap between Frankie, Digi, Acosta, Bezecchi, and then you just put the Catty and Grassini, bang, you're done.
Pretty much. I mean, this is my lineup right here. That's who I got. That's my squad right there. So, and I'm doing horrible, and I thought I'd be doing good, but I suck. But whatever. And I haven't used no turbos yet, so that's good.
Oh, I used my first turbo at Kota.
See,
Marcus, he's unbeatable at Kota, so he'll be amazing, and obviously crashed.
I know, and I almost did too. I was like, yes, I'm a turbo him, and I was like, I'm gonna wait. But every other weekend, I'm like, yeah, I'm a turbo him this weekend, and I don't. Of course, he's been on this winning streak. I feel like, I don't know, me, for some reason, Jack, it's like I hold on to him until the last 3 rounds, and I'm like, up turbo, let's go. Because I feel like if I use him too soon, then I'm kind of assed out, right? So yeah. I don't know. It's all fun and games anyway. It's nothing too serious. I don't get wrapped up in the whole, prize win. It would be nice to win a prize though. It'd be pretty cool. I remember one time I made it in the final round, and I had to do a video presentation and send it to them for the MotoGP VIP super fan. I made it to the final running in that, and I didn't get it, but it's pretty cool to make it at least to the final. So yeah, that's cool. But yeah, man, Jack, listen, this has been a lot of fun, bro. We're an hour and 4 minutes into this podcast. It goes by too quick, right? But just stay on with me after this. We're gonna go ahead and schedule our next one. And listen, people, Jack is an absolute legend. So cheer him on. You don't have any merch for sale, do you?
No.
You need to get you some, Jack. You need to get you some merch, man, to start selling it for sure. I'd buy one. I'd wear it on my podcast. Let's go, right? But anyway, Jack, listen, this has been a lot of fun, man. Thank you so much. It's been an honor to have you back on. Bro, you got it this year. No worries. You're going to show up and dominate. Somebody will get you. They haven't put you on a team yet, have they, for this season coming up?
I'm with a team, let's say, but I don't know what I'm allowed to announce.
Okay. All right.
But I am with a team.
My man, congratulations. Well, when you can announce it, hit me up, mate, and we'll jump back on here and we'll do an announcement and chat for a few minutes, and so you can make your can't even talk announcement live. That's cool, dude. Listen, I'm excited for you, Jack. You, my friend, are doing big things. You're living a proper mega lifestyle. You're playing video games, the MotoGP video game, man. I mean, how cool is that? And get to travel. So now everything's done at home, right? You guys don't travel anywhere.
Yeah, so the first two rounds will be at home, and then the last round, which is on Black Friday, takes place in Milan.
Nice. So when let's say if they did have 3 rounds at the actual GP circuit, do they pay your way to get out there? Are you responsible for getting out there?
So the team you're with, they usually pay for your travel, your hotel, whatever. And then if whatever reason they can't, then Dorna will cover the cost.
That's dude, bro. Think 10 years ago. Well, it's not that long ago. Let's say 15 years ago, right? We'd be playing video games and teams actually paying you to show up to play the video game at the MotoGP events. How cool is that, right? Yeah. Proper mega for sure. I think all the series should do that. I think BSB. I always wonder why BSB didn't have their own game neither. They should.
They did. There was a Crescent Suzuki game in like 2004 with John Reynolds and Yukio Kageyama. Yep. So that's close we got to a BSB game.
I have that game. Dude, I have a stack of MotoGP, all motorcycle racing games from the original PS1 till now that, I just hold on to. I'm like, I ain't selling that. I'm keeping it. In the VR46 game, bro, I was disappointed in that game. That game was not good. I know I see your stack back there.
Yeah, this one.
Yep. Dude, I wasn't impressed with that game at all. Was you?
It was basically just MotoGP 15, but the bike was a lot lighter. I did love the flat track, the rallying. So I was happy with that.
Yeah, that I think was a standout to me from the game. Just because it was a different element to it, right? You get to ride on Rossi's Ranch. I mean, where else can you ride on Rossi's Ranch, right? Dude, that's another dream destination of mine is showing up to the ranch one day. Hey, I'm here. The policia is coming full shore that day. They're like, get that dude out of here. Oh, man. Yeah, that in the TT, bro. That is my number one bucket list is making it out to the Isle of Man TT. I want to go so bad. I'm planning on coming back to BSB probably in 27. I want to come back out there to Cadwell, and I want to stay for the next round. I want to do Cadwell and Brands Hatch. I want to go to both of those. So, yeah, that's in the cards. We'll see how it plays out, right? If it's meant to be, it'll be. I mean, so listen, Jack, this has been a lot of fun. Just down with me here for a minute. As always, I'm going to let you end the podcast. But before I give the microphone to you, I just got to say thank you so much to everybody that watches this podcast, that hits that like and subscribe. It helps me out so much. If you had not had the chance, please go do it. And it's nothing but love to every single one of you, because without Jack and everybody listening, I wouldn't be able to do this. So thank you very much. Moto America this weekend. I just want to say big shout out to my man Juju. You got it. Go out there and get them. Big shout out to all my friends racing in Moto America this weekend. Listen, you guys go out there and have fun and do what you do. I'm definitely going to be cheering every single one of you on. And yeah, MotoGP this weekend too as well. So it's going to be a busy weekend all the way around for me and the TV for sure. So Jack, listen, again, absolute honor, two-time champion, getting ready to be three-time this season. You guys heard it first on Pin the Gas because, yes, I just went ahead and called it. So, Jack, tell everybody where they can find you on social media and give all the shout-outs you want to give, my friend.
Okay, so you can get me on Instagram at Jack. I think it's underscore Hammer4658. Twitter and YouTube is just Jack space Hammer4658, and same for Facebook as well. Shout outs just probably the Mortimer Racing team in the British Talent Cup probably. That's who I spend my time with in BSB most of the time. With I mean, the season hasn't gone fantastic as we would have hoped, but it's fun. It's fun time, and we're going to Assen next week, so that'll be a fun experience.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime you get to travel with the beautiful circus and be there on the race weekend, it's the best weekend ever, right? The atmosphere, the energy, the people, the fans, not so much the food, right? Let's just be honest, but everything else in between is good. Yeah, man. Well, listen, Jack Hammer, it's been an absolute honor to have you on today, my friend. I hope everybody enjoyed this as much as we did, and I'm sure you guys did. This episode will be out Spotify. You know the deal, Jack. It'll be out everywhere tomorrow. If you guys miss it, you can immediately go to my YouTube and my Facebook and rewatch it as soon as I end this here in a second. And thanks everybody that tuned in and watched and left a comment. Will and Mark B. Jones and Brennan and Jason and everybody. I see you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. And Jack, again, it's been an honor, my friend. Just down with me for 1 second, okay? Let me end this.
Calling all two-wheel enthusiasts, get ready to rev up your earbuds with Pin the Gas Podcast, the ultimate motorcycle racing podcast, hosted by Chris Simcoe, one of our very own excellent leaders here in Roanoke, Virginia. With expert analysis, behind-the-scenes stories, and exclusive writer interviews, Pin the Gas Podcast delivers the adrenaline rush of the racetrack straight to your ears. Whether you're a diehard fan or a curious newcomer, you'll gain insights that will transform how you watch and understand motorcycle racing. On your favorite podcast app, join Simcoe as he takes you on a high-speed journey through the world of motorcycle racing. Pin the Gas Podcast.